Welcome back to Angels and Bob's Factorio, and yeah, it's a really important part of the early game. One of the really big things you need to get sorted pretty soon is the ability to make these, the basic electronics boards, or basic electronic boards. We've already made one part of this, the basic electronic components, in the last episode. These things. We're just boxing them up right now. We've got lots and lots of them. However, that's not quite enough. We need basic circuit boards and solder. Solder, as you might imagine, involves tin and lead, I believe. In fact, let me just check that with solder. Solder plate and resin. Okay, yeah, rosin. Okay, solder plates is tin and lead. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll do that next. First, we've got to get to the basic circuit board, or to be able to make them ourselves. Unfortunately, they require basic insulating boards and copper cables, which you may wonder why I say unfortunately, because basic insulating boards requires wood. Now, you can make synthetic circuit boards, but we're not going to go there. Easiest way is to just make wood. To do that, we're going to need greenhouses of some kind. Are you in? No, it's going to need it's a bio farm. It's in here somewhere. There we are. So you need bio nurseries, which we can make already, pocket craft them. But we also need the bio farm. So the bio nursery makes seedlings. The bio farm takes seedlings and makes them into trees. And the problem with this is we don't have any glass. So how do we make glass? This is where we have to do some other work. Glass is made from silicon ore, which is made from crushed ammonium, which handily we have right here on the screen, which produces slag, tin ore, and silicon ore. So we need to do the same thing we've done for this up here, down here. We need to separate this ore into tin and essentially silicon. So I need to replace this. I'm going to do that off camera because you've already seen me do it up there. Okay, so we've got a mining setup now. They're all sort of suspended at the moment because we've got more than enough ore to get things going. So we've got this single belt passing through all of the ore patch. Let me just check how we're doing. We're doing fine. Yeah, so we've got the single belt coming through. And we've got two side belts for a little capture any of the ore that isn't on the main belt. Isn't in range of these, by the way, these electric miners in the middle, because they only come out to about here. And then they'll self-balance onto the belt just before the sorting setup. I've only set up one of these so far, and I do actually need to change things around a little bit, just so that I can get... yeah, I need to do something like this, don't I? Because I'm going to need to get the stone out of these. So let's just make a couple more underground belts. I'll figure the rest out. So only one ore sorting setup rather than four, because I just don't know how much of this ammonium I'm going to need to process just yet. So I can always move the rest of this setup. It's quite tiny. We've got the same thing happening here. If I just take these out for a second, you'll see it start to work. It's going to pass into the ore sorting facility, and out the other side, I've only got a single inserter at the moment. It is going to pass silicon ore and tin ore. They're going to go into these furnaces, which I need another inserter right there, otherwise that one won't work. Okay, and these furnaces are going to output tin to the left and glass to the right, so I can pick up any glass that I get out of this process, and I'm just going to box up the slag at the end. Tin runs back the way we came, all the way up and into the side of this belt up here, which goes back into our basic electronic components factory right there. There. And I've got a coal line coming down. It can't be put in yet because what's going to happen is I don't have any filter inserters to just pull out slag. So if I connect this up so that these can just feed off this one belt, it's just going to start boxing them because they're not going to be able to use all that coal. So it's going to start boxing coal. So I'm not going to do that just yet. I could put in an extra fuel belt and just move this over by one. I'm not too bothered for the moment. I can it's not running fast. It's not even running at all at the moment, but it's not running fast enough for me to be too concerned about it. We are, however, going to want to make sure we capture all this stone again. So we may need to go and box that up as well, which we can now do. Which side are you going to put on? Let's just check. You're going to go on that side, which is ideal because then we can just run here and side load on from this one. And then we can just do something like this. And decide what we want to do with it later. Let's just put another box in. Unlike the base game Factorio, Angels and Bobs certainly seems to be a lot about boxing stuff up until you actually need them later. I suppose you could design a way to deal with them, but if you look at, you know, crushed stone, we can look at what it's made into. So it gets used for the bio nursery. And the crushed stone, by the way, is what these produce. I'm currently turning them into stone, but there's not all that much. Obviously, we can turn it to stone, calcium chloride, rails, mineralized water, and that's about it. We can use stone to make other things like repair packs. So that's one use. Stone bricks, of course, which we're already doing up there, so I don't need this. We can turn it back into crushed stone. We can turn it into grass, and we can turn it into concrete. Concrete is probably the one we will be going for. So I am going to need some amount of crushed stone. That's not crushed stone, regular stone to do that. But for now, shouldn't be needed. So let's just box it and make sure this is running, which will then make sure everything else is running. So we should end up with a couple of boxes of glass, and we're okay to carry on. So to go next, what do we need? We need to build those greenhouse items to make wood. If I remember which tab they're in. Okay, so a biofarm and a bio nursery. I'm going to make another biofarm. I've already made one. Let me pop over here because we'll need to do it over here somewhere. We need the water. Let me just gather some raw wood. So the way this whole chain works is that you can get wood by making seeds from wood, turning them into saplings, turning the saplings into trees, obviously feeding that back around so that you end up with more seeds, and then of course you should end up with an excess of wood that isn't being used for seeds. So let's pop down a couple of these and you'll see what I get. You'll see what I mean. They're quite big. Okay, the biofarm in particular is huge. Do I have another one of... I thought I constructed a bio nursery. You know, it's probably used it to make the biofarm. That is slightly annoying, but I'll just queue up another one. We'll make it. In the meantime, there's only one recipe. It takes 20 seedlings and 100 water and makes 40 wood. So we double up the seedlings, but it takes 400 seconds to do so. And we can't alter, it seems, where the water gets loaded. Oh, hang on, wait a second. Yeah, there we go. So once we select the recipe, we can. So we can choose where we want that. So if we had it going in this side, then, you know, I could just feed in the water this way. We'll see once I've got the full setup. Do I have... Yeah, I want to make a few of those. So let's just queue a few up. Okay, with our nurseries laid down, we need to sort these out to produce wood. So the first one we're going to produce is seeds. This produces 40 seeds every 100 seconds. Takes some wood and water, but don't worry about the wood and water just yet. 40 seeds every 100 seconds. These ones will take 20 seeds every 200 seconds. So to get that, let's just quickly look at that again. Instead, we can think this is going to produce 80 seeds every 200 seconds instead of 40 every 100. So in that case, we're going to, you know, be using 20 seeds every 200 seconds to get 40 seedlings, which means we can support 4 seedling nurseries for every single seed nursery. Okay, and this is where the maths gets a little bit over the top. We can, let's just take a look at that recipe again. We're going to be producing 40 seedlings every 200 seconds. All right, so let's just look at this. Every 400 seconds, that's going to need to be. So let's look at this again. So this is going to produce 80 seedlings every 400 seconds. And because we've got 4 of them, we need to multiply 80 by 4, so 320. This only takes 20 seedlings every 400 seconds, so 320 divided by 2. That's essentially 16 of these bio farms we can support with just these 5. So these 5 are going to be balanced. This one isn't going to be anytime soon. Just to be clear, I'm not going to have enough for that, or not going to want to do anything with that amount just yet. However, we have it just by balancing these first few out. And then I just want to feed wood back into here. And to be honest, we can also probably split it up here somewhere. Let's just build a splitter. And the rest of our wood can go this away, which is probably where we want it anyway. Let's check the next research off. Let's take tool belt, because that'll give me another line of slots I can put stuff in. The occasionally used stuff, etc. So if we put a splitter right there, we should get a pure line of wood here. This is going to fill up pretty fast because it's not going to be used up. And then the rest of it should get going. Now, in addition to wood, we're also, to start this process off, we're also going to need water. So we're going to need to make pipes. You can make that from stone bricks. Which direction am I going to bring this in from? I think I'm going to go via the right, just because I kind of like the idea of keeping these next to each other when we can, just to try to compact that a little bit, even though it's going to be ridiculous. There is no way that it's going to be anything but ridiculous. So we're going to go and feed pipes going this way. Where's our line going to come in? Probably, let's actually do the input line first. We're going to be able to go underneath here to feed into this in a second. We're also going to need, however, to... In fact, let's actually just flip this around just so that I've got a little bit more room without moving everything else. I'm going to go and put it this way with the splitter right here, I think. And then that will get me the same result, but just with a bit more room. And I need to just hook up power. All right. So I guess the first one is we can just pass this underneath. And make sure we select the right recipe. So that should connect. And then we can run other pipe work left and right, of course. Go that way if we want more biofarms. This way is where we want to go anyway. And... we need one extra room to maneuver. So let's make sure we go underneath and we can send this, you know, quite a long ways. Yeah, to there, just to make it neater. And I think I'm probably going to run out of those. Maybe. Yeah. Let me just put it there. That's ridiculous. There's no need for me to do it from there, but I do need one over here. So let's bring you over across. Yeah, and I'm going to run out. So let me just fill it in with regular pipe for now. Okay, so they've all now got water, and all they should need is just some inserters, etc., to put stuff onto this belt. And then I'm going to need to insert something into each of these. So I'm going to need another line on the other side, which is no problem. For the inputs. Make some inserters, and I can just feed this with some starter wood. I think it needs 20 or so to start. So let's just take a half a stack and feed it in. It takes a long time to actually start this process. It's quite slow to start, but it does pick up speed just by virtue of the volume that you're actually going to get out of it. So there's no big problems. 1, 2, and then a couple more. We're going to need power, of course. So let's make more power poles, and then we should have the wood setup done. We can even put it there, say, and cut that off for now, because we don't have any more biofarms. So there's no point going past the point that we insert. I need one more. Some power. It all looks good. I think we're done with the wood. Yeah. Let's just put that last inserter in. And did need that one piece of belt. Okay, so wood's going to come in via this method once everything comes into this bottom thing, which is going to make it turn into seedlings, which is going to go up this side. Seedlings are going to go into these. Seeds are going to go into these. Seedlings are going to come out, get passed into the biofarm, and around it goes and produces more wood. I'm going to need to leave that a while. However, it's going to take a while to produce more wood. So let's leave that alone. What did we actually need for the next stage? We needed basic boards, didn't we? Basic insulating boards. So for that you need wood. And it's not the wood logs, it's just wood as in like paneling, if you like. So we can create that from an assembly machine. And we also needed resin, I think, if I remember rightly. Stone tablet, don't worry about it. I think we need resin somewhere along here, didn't we? It's for the solder. So I think we can do that at the same time, however. Let's just go back to resin. I think resin is made from raw wood as well. So we may be able to share half a belt of each of those just by putting them along this wood output. Or we could take wood elsewhere. It doesn't really matter too much. And there we go. And it's put everything on the wrong... Wow, it's moved everything up. Okay, so my hotkeys 1 through 5, etc. are on the top row. Fine. Let's just move these out. Okay. All right, so should we do wood and resin? That seems to be the next thing to actually do, so let's just do that as well. May as well. And how am I going to do those? I think I'm going to take them off one side of this wood belt, as it will be. So if we put them... yeah, we can put them something like this, maybe? So once we have some inserters, let's grab you, inserters. We want you to make wood, so let's just type you in. And you to make resin. We can just insert, and then along to the other side, I'm probably going to want to put them onto their own side of the belt. So let's just, I can never remember which side an inserter puts the put those onto. So let me just actually feed these with half a stack, and let's just see which side. Yeah, of course they're going onto the wrong side for what I want. So the other way to deal with that is just to rotate it so they are, which is straightforward. We can just go this way. There we go. So we should end up with wood and resin on either side of that, and with a couple of inserters once this whole chain starts moving. Have you produced the first seedlings yet? Oh. It's not going to produce any seedlings if you don't have any way to get seedlings out of this. Let's just... there we go. Another inserter as well on this side would actually help. Those of you who spotted this about 5 minutes ago, who were screaming onto the screen, yeah, sorry, but we got seeds, and they should be enough to get started. Yeah, that's the first batch started, and this whole thing should run. I think I have got inserters everywhere else, so I'm probably going to build a couple more. And then both of these should run, so we can send wood and resin wherever we want to. And that's of course what we need to choose next. We need to look at the basic circuits again. There they are. So we need stone tablets. That's the next thing to grab. I guess we've got lots of stone everywhere else. So let's see what stone tablets take. They just take stone bricks. That is also good. We've got stone bricks being boxed up off the bottom of this line. And as you can see at the very top, everything's seized up again because probably the copper line has seized up because I'm not using enough copper. This is why I didn't go ahead and, you know, put this stereotype manufacturing in. I just don't need that much copper just yet. Let's just quickly take a look once we get over there. Is it the copper line that's seized up this time, or is it something else? I think it is. I think oh, these boxes are full, and they're full of copper. It's made it all the way to the end and filled up the boxes. So we need to do something with slag, and I don't think we can get to slag reprocessing just yet. Let's see if there's fluid handling. Oh, slag processing. Interesting. We can. Although I'm not sure what I want to manufacture with it, but having it go somewhere would be good. Having it go somewhere reliably would be better. So I think I'm going to redirect this line into a warehouse for now. So if I bring just temporarily it here, and then we can go underground. Yes, it is just a bigger box. I'm under no illusions that this isn't just a bigger box, but it should get us moving at least on our furnaces, which is exactly what we need just yet now. There we go. So that should hopefully start everything moving again, and I can transfer this stuff over at some later point. Okay, so we've got a stone brick production right next to our main ore sorter, so we may as well reuse that and put off our splitter. That'll bring it down to a factory here, assembly machine, and it's going to make stone tablets, which it is doing already, which is going to push it over here, and we're going to reuse that with, as is just arriving, some wood and some resin. The resin we're not going to need, but because it's all on the same line, we don't need a huge amount of it, I'm just going to use them both at the same time. So let me just put that in there. Let me just unhook that. You can reserve so that slots so that it'll only be occupied by certain things, just by middle clicking or middle clicking an empty slot. You can choose whatever you want to reserve, just in case you haven't done that before. So on this side, this is the input side, so let's just put you there and there, you there and there, and then just put some power in. That should do it. And then from this we want to produce basic insulating boards. So it's going to take one stone tablet, one piece of wood, and it's going to manufacture both of those. Both of those are going to get output, and they'll be on one side of the belt, which doesn't actually matter. So I can just output like that. And then we're going to want to take that down here, I think. Yeah, I think this is in the right place for once, which makes a change for me. Let me just send them down. There we go. Okay, so the basic insulating boards are going to come down here. Going to go underneath here and onto this side of the belt. The other side of the belt is going to come from the same copper cable manufacturer we use for the tin copper cable, and they'll combine onto a single belt. I'm going to have problems with output, aren't I? If I put that there, I'm going to have to put it on the other side. That's no big deal. So we can just put that here. All right, and then we can choose basic circuit boards. And that's all they both need is on this belt. They just need some power again. And they're probably going to need faster inserters than that. So we are going to probably put blue inserters at some point. Once they have enough. Oh, they've already done their job. So the output is going to come off this side. And I'll get a couple of inserters going. So at that point, we've got the second ingredient right next to the first ingredient of our circuits. So basic circuit boards and basic electronic components. Of course, we're going to need 5 times more of the second one than the first one, but that's okay. Let me take a quick look at solder. So solder plate and resin. Now we've got resin up here, right there, or we will have once the greenhouse is actually, let me just put an underground belt there because I'm probably going to want to at least extend this one. I'm not going to need the wood anymore, but that's okay. It's just a transport belt. So we need the resin. We're going to need the solder plate. Okay, so that's made in a metal mixing furnace, which is good because we have access to those. It's going to need tin and it's going to need lead. We don't have any lead, so we better look at making it. All right, so where do we get lead from? Lead is from one of the ores, and it's not that one. It's the rubyite, I think. Yep, so this produces lead. We have tin plate right here, so we could pull an extra line off. Maybe go here, something like that. That looks reasonable. I just don't want to cause too many issues with the routing. So that should be fine. And we should get tin plate coming this way. So all we need to do is produce another setup here with lead. And we just need to get rid of these rocks. This also produces nickel. Now, nickel is useful in the future, but just because we can concentrate in this episode on just lead, hopefully lead is the default output for this. We'll find very shortly if it's not. So if I just put down U, do I have any spare miners left? I have one. One will do just fine. And then if I put a factory on the other side for the stone, it's going to pop out of here. And a furnace, I can choose... Can I choose lead in here? Lead? Lead plate from lead ore. No, I want the one from crushed rubyite. And both of you. You're going to need some power. And you're going to need some power. So if we crush rubyite, that's going to go into here, pop into these furnaces, where lead will pop out the other side, hopefully. And I'll make some more inserters. We've got tin coming from down here, so if I bring that up and combine the two, let me just grab a U. Let's see, where do we want this to go into? So if I feed the output of that onto a belt, it's going to go onto the bottom side. So let's actually just feed it the other way then. That's going to go onto this side, so I'm going to want this to come onto this side, maybe? Something like that. There we go, and then we can just feed this onto some kind of manufacturing. So we just need another furnace right here, at which point we can choose solder plate, I think. Solder plate. And it should happily manufacture that once we have some more power. Let's just grab you. There we go. Are you going to manufacture a solder plate if I shove you full of coal? Hopefully. Once you have enough lead. It's just the lead that's slow here. Let's just make sure this is making stone, as you might expect, and then into a box. I should make steel chests. They're actually larger, but it's fine for now. So with enough lead, you're going to be able to make solder plates. Solder plate is going to combine with, what was it now we need for solder? Just the resin, I think. So the resin's over here. And that can come across. Maybe if I bring the solder plate up and then across, we can combine those two belts near each other, and then we should be able to make solder. Solder can then be brought out to the left and then back down here, at which point we have all three components for our electronic circuits. And just a quick update, here is our sort of seedling factory, our wood factory working. I moved the inserter from this side just so that it will get split by this properly. And that is working okay. Let me just actually put the inputs to these rather than leaving them stranded. That will do. So they'll be producing the wood and the resin just fine. The wood's heading down here. It's being converted into seedlings. Seedlings are going back into the biofarms, which every so often will produce enough wood for us to get started. Automation 2 is finished, so we need to use that to build this. So we're going to need basic electronic boards to make assembling machine 2s. Okay. Can I make them and pocket craft them? I can. I just need solder and the rest. So if I just go over here and grab a few of this, we can make a couple more of those, and that means I can make the first couple of factories. And they need this tier of factory. We can't use this one. If we pop this down and we look on this tab, we see there just isn't any way for us to select anything more than the basic circuit boards. So we need the higher tier of factory, which we've got now, so that's fine. If we then search, can we select the basic electronic boards? We can, good. So we can then put 2 of those down. And then we can have a belt somewhere. Doesn't really matter where for the moment. Just able to produce these things. Okay. So we've got basic electronic boards. And that is one of the biggest early steps. And we did it all in one episode. Isn't too bad. We have had a whole bunch more infrastructure, but I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have played Angels and Bobs, you'll recognize this as one of the early game challenges, and it takes a bit of work to actually get going. You'll see our wood and resin are coming around now. Solder's making its way out. Wood is being converted into these, or should be once we get some coming around. Hopefully those are producing wood. It's already produced some, so yeah. See, they're on its way around. It's already been used. We just need more wood now, which is, let me just cut that off, which is pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're liking the Factorio series, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe and share as normal. And if you've got any suggestions, if you have any corrections or any more efficient ways of doing things, I'm definitely happy to hear them, just like in Stationeers. And hopefully Stationeers is going to get some more content soon as well. I do want to make more of those videos. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.